eyes wide open. We're heading deep into the Appalachian Mountains, one of the oldest and most mysterious regions in the world. Appalachia has no shortage of eerie and chilling folklore the locals swear by. Don't forget to subscribe, and let's take a look.
We urge you not to let your campfire die out, even late at night. Keeping your campfire stocked is your last line of defense against any threats that may want to hurt you. Thirdly, if you have any FM radio or AM radio or any kind of walkie-talkie, we urge you that if you hear static late at night, please respond with the words, "Ranger, Ranger."
Old Appalachian folklore. Death comes in threes, and so do births. Chimneys are the gravestones of the home. Spirits of the family still linger inside. 3 knocks on the door with no one there means death is knocking. Don't enter or exit a home through the death door, or you might be next. Don't let your shadow fall across a grave. Your shadow is connected to your spirit. Don't bring your old broom to a new home. You'll bring your old troubles with you. Don't look up in the trees. If you look for something, it can look back. Don't rock an empty rocking chair. You'll invite something to set down. Don't leave the dead alone in the home. A body has to be watched until burial. Don't whistle at night or in the woods. You don't know what's listening. If you shiver for no reason, someone's walking over your grave. When the fog rolls in, the spirits walk the grounds.
The most terrifying and unexplainable thing that I've ever experienced happened to me a few years ago. And you're going to think I'm insane after you hear what I'm about to tell you. And I've only told a handful of people this since it happened. But I was visited by what I can only describe as a poltergeist one night. The most paranormal and the darkest, scariest thing I've ever experienced in my life. And still to this day, I don't know what it was. And I pray that it never happens again. But if you want a scary story, here's what happened. I was about 25 years old at the time. I had just gotten a new girlfriend, and we moved in together. And this was the first time I had been in a family situation. She had 2 young kids. They were 5 and 8 years old at the time. And we were very excited to be starting this new life together. We moved into a single wide trailer out in the middle of nowhere. I'm from Kentucky, so we're in the middle of nowhere. We're in the woods, very remote. And we were happy. Life was good. We were starting this new life together, me and her and the kids, and everything was great, we thought. This was a 3-bedroom trailer. So there were 2 smaller bedrooms at the back side of the trailer, which were the kids' rooms. And there was a bigger bedroom on the far end of the trailer, which was our bedroom. And within a couple months of living there, some very strange things started happening. So one afternoon, about 3 or 4 in the afternoon, it was summer break. The kids were out of school, and they had fallen asleep. Both of them had fallen asleep in their bedrooms. They were taking their afternoon summer nap like you do. And we saw this a good opportunity to go get us a nap in. So we went to the room, closed the door, and laid down and took a nap. About an hour into this nap, there was a knock on our bedroom door. I mean, a loud knock. This sounded like a grown man knocking on the door. And I rolled over and thought, well, obviously the kids have woken up. And Amber, my girlfriend at the time, she rolled over and said, see what they want. So I just yelled, what? And there it was again. A very serious, aggressive knock. I thought, what the heck is that all about? I got up and opened the bedroom door. No one's there. It's silent. Now this is broad daylight. The sun is shining outside. It's dead silence. I thought, what in the world? So I walked back to the kids' rooms. There they are laying there, both of them asleep. And this ran chills all the way throughout my body. So I went back to the bedroom. Amber's sitting up in the bed at this point. I said, you heard that knock, right? She was like, yeah, of course I did. Have no idea what it was. So, it freaked both of us out, but we chilled out and was like, well, I don't know what that was all about. But in just a few days, it would get much, much worse. Now, when I was a kid, I loved scary movies. I loved ghost hunting out in the dark at night with my cousins, looking through the woods, looking for scary things, getting freaked out. I loved paranormal things when I was a little kid. Like my whole life growing up, we would go in and try to see something scary in the woods. But for me, it was always Casper, the friendly ghost. It was the idea of seeing some transparent apparition floating through the woods real fast. And oh, that's scary. And we would run away laughing. I could have never prepared myself for the darkness that I would feel when this happened to me. The almost demonic feeling that I got from this experience. I could have never prepared myself for what was coming. So it's 3:00 in the morning. It's pitch black in the trailer. We're asleep in our bedroom. The kids are asleep in their room. And I am woken up by the most horrific screams you could ever imagine. And our daughter was 8 years old at the time. And it was Brianna's voice screaming at the top of her lungs directly outside of my bedroom door. Get it off of me. Help, help, help. I mean, screaming bloody murder. Help! Get it off! And I jumped up. I'm in my underwear. And, it's only 15 foot from my bed to the bedroom door. And this screaming is directly outside of the door. And there is thrashing like she's fighting, like she's being kidnapped, like someone has come in the house. My first thought is someone is taking my daughter out of the house. I have cold chills all over my body right now. She's screaming at the top of her lungs. I jump up in my boxers, run and kick the door off the hinges. And as soon as that door opens, the sound is now out the back door. There was a back door on the kitchen. Our bedroom opened into the kitchen dining room area, and there was a back door there. As soon as my bedroom door opened, her screams are outside the back door, which is closed and locked. And she is screaming, help, 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 get it off, get it off. And I run as fast as I can and kick the back door wide open. And it is dead silent in the backyard. Complete silence. Just darkness. No moon, just pitch black 3 a.m. darkness out the back door. I run to the kids' bedroom. I turn around as fast as I could and run back to their bedroom. And there's Brianna, just peacefully sleeping in her bed. I go to Dalton's bedroom. There he is, just peacefully asleep. I ran back to my bedroom, and Amber, my girlfriend at the time, she was sitting up crying on the edge of the bed. She experienced the whole thing too. So I sat down, and it broke me down. I sat down on the edge of the bed with my head in my hands and started freaking out. What was that? What could that have possibly been? I didn't know what to think. I thought I was losing my mind, but the fact that she also experienced it, she heard the whole thing. And it was absolutely horrifying. Needless to say, I didn't get any sleep. She didn't get any sleep the rest of the night. I was hyperventilating. I was full-blown panic. I thought someone was kidnapping our child out of our house. And there was nothing. There was absolute silence. And I told her immediately, we have to leave. We have to leave this house. Something it's very, very wrong. I had this overwhelming darkness come over me. Like the most negative thing I've ever felt in my life immediately when this happened. And following that, suddenly this house had this dark, heavy feeling all the way through it. And I knew we can't stay here. We have to leave this place. And we agreed in that moment that we have to find somewhere else to live. So we did. We moved. We found a nice little house for rent across the county, sitting right on the bank of the Kentucky River, and we got out of there. And the darkness never left that trailer. In between that experience and when we left, there was this darkness, this heavy weight hanging over that place up until we left. And we packed up all of our things and we moved. We had a grandfather clock at the time. An old, tall, antique, beautiful old grandfather clock that someone had given us, that we moved with us into this new house. We put this grandfather clock in the corner of the kitchen, and it didn't work, so the hands on the clock didn't move. Well, when we moved it in there, I set the hands to 3 o'clock, just because it was symmetrical and I liked the way it looked. Well, a couple weeks went by and I was standing at the stove in the new house now, and I glanced over at the clock, and the hands on this grandfather clock were bent outward, like someone had physically bent them forward. Now, the kids weren't big enough to reach up there to do this. Amber wouldn't have done that. Why would she have done that? And I didn't even tell anyone. I just bent them back and got a weird feeling about it. Well, some time passed, and we got pregnant. We had a daughter. And as time went on, our little girl started walking. And you know how babies are when they're just walking. They get around quick. I was sitting in the living room one afternoon, and Zaylee, my daughter, my baby at the time, had ran in the kitchen, and I heard the biggest crash. It sounded like the roof had fallen in on the kitchen, and I knew something bad happened. I jumped and ran in the kitchen, and my daughter, my little baby, was laying underneath of this grandfather clock. It had fallen over and crashed onto the ground. She was okay. She wasn't hurt. She was just kind of laying there, but it had fallen and shattered all around her and destroyed this clock. And I have a hard time not feeling like that, like something had followed us. And it turns out, after talking to a couple people close to me, some family members who knew the folks who lived in the trailer before we did, I found out that someone had taken their life in the backyard of that trailer. A man whose son had passed away, and he ended his own life in the backyard of that trailer. And I've wondered ever since if maybe what I heard was just some remnants of some leftover darkness that was stained because of what happened there. Was that the sound of the moments before that were just stuck there? I don't know. I'll never know what it was, what those screams were. And I can't help but feel like something was stuck in that clock, you know. And I know that's far out for some people to imagine, but it was very real. Very, very real. Too real, in fact. And I'll spend the rest of my life hoping that I never have to experience anything like that ever again. And it still comes across my mind a lot, and hoping that whatever it was stayed there. So what was it? I know that I'm not just crazy because someone else experienced it with me. The kids never even knew it happened. And I would love to know if anyone else has ever experienced anything like this or knows what it was. What did I experience? It changed a lot of things for me. It brought back this fear of the dark, like you have when you're a little kid. I don't sleep well a lot of times, and I think I will forever wonder, what was that? And needless to say, I don't watch scary movies anymore.
Someone who grew up in Appalachia, I need someone to do a study on the rate of the childhood trauma of growing up in Appalachia versus the rest of the nation. Because when I tell you, it is so much more severe than anywhere else. My boyfriend's a city boy. When I told him my childhood story, he was like, that's rough. I told him all of my friends' story. He starts being like, okay, wait, what's going on there? Like, you grew up rough on the mountain. I said, yes. Yes, we did. Not a single person I know has come out of there unscathed. I mean it.
This will not be a great video to watch if you plan on going on a nature hike solo anytime soon. What if trees aren't exactly what you think they are? What if I told you that trees could possibly be a portal to another dimension or something that could trap you forever? Now guys, this is just a theory here, but the fact that we have found people encased in trees before makes you have to look at trees a little differently, okay? We talked about that famous story where the little boy went to hide behind the tree. This is on the Missing 411. And he went to go hide behind the tree, and his dad was watching them because they were all playing hide and go seek, and the dad was watching the little boy play while all the kids play hide and go seek. His little boy ducked behind a tree. Then one of the other boys got done counting, and they went to look behind the tree, and he's gone. To this day, they've never found him. It's been more than 40 years. They've never found any part of his body. And the dad went back there to check behind the tree, and he was just vanished. People have been found encased in trees multiple times, okay? Loggers will be cutting trees down. They'll cut a tree in half. There's a body inside of it. The tree had no hole originally, so it wasn't like somebody got stuffed in there by some kind of serial killer. Now, the fact that this has even happened once, let alone multiple times, tells me this is something that we need to be looking into. You know, you hear about tree entities all the time. I mean, look at pop culture references. The Wizard of Oz shows the trees that are alive that go grab them. You know, the Evil Dead has the whole, vine thing. There's a lot of stories with like nature and the fae and fairy rings on the ground and, these different things. We're seeing this famous story right now of this guy that swears his tree is moving, little by little every day. And you have to wonder if there's something to this. If you guys watch the show From, and you see that, the faraway trees, and then, one of them, the guy went into it and encased him into the side of a pool. Once again, these pop culture references reference real things that people have supposedly witnessed, talked about, or gone through. And that just freaks me out. People talk about going to the woods and going through portals, or Missing 411, people just turning up missing and gone away. It almost always seems like there's a connection to these missing people when people are right there with them. Like there's so many stories of somebody who's like, oh yeah, there was 5 of us. We were all right together. Somebody just walked over to use the bathroom and they were gone forever. Did they lean against a tree? Did they touch one of these trees? Did the tree reach out and grab them and bring them in? Even in my videos in the past, people have said that they have seen faces in the trees behind me, like these trees right here behind me, when I'm doing my videos. And there's been so many screenshots of faces in the trees while I'm doing this. Could this be something that a supernatural creature does and has the ability to do, is to, pull you into these trees? Who knows? It's just a very creepy theory to look at. Go down that rabbit hole a little bit if you will.
So growing up, did your parents ever tell you to stay away from swamps in the woods when you're by yourself? Because now that I got your attention with this cute baby goat, I'm going to tell you a story that happened to me when I was out in the woods by myself when I was a little kid. The story actually takes place when I was a little kid, and it was me and my family, and we went camping in the Appalachian Mountains. Now, mind you, my parents always told us to stay away from this swamp because it was just unsafe in general, and you could literally fall in and sink up to your neck and possibly drown. Here's them together, by the way. But okay, back to me. I was being my typical self where I was catching animals and stuff and snakes down at the lake, and I decided to go take a little adventure over to this swamp. And I actually got a thrill out of my parents telling me to stay away from it because I was a little rebel child. I remember going through the woods and I started hearing this weird noise. It almost sounded like when you're a kid and you don't understand that a mountain lion sounds like a woman screaming for her life in the middle of the mountains. It sounded almost like that, but it was definitely more of like a deeper growling kind of scream. At that age, you would think a little kid would turn around and run, but like I said, I was always looking for trouble. So I decided to go even further towards this swamp. As I followed the noise, I start coming across these tracks in the ground that were like, I can't explain it. They just were not human-like, but they were almost like, I can't explain it. They weren't human, but they were almost almost like a dog or like a deer. Kind of like if deer hooves had paw prints mixed in it. But at that point I was hooked. So I decided to follow these tracks through the brush over to the swamp. And I remember swiping away the leaves to enter the swamp. And this is what I saw. All I can tell you is I've seen some weird animals in my life, but I have never in my life seen something that was kind of like a deer, but like not a deer. All I can say is this thing was really tall. It was drinking water out of the swamp. And then when it noticed me and it picked up its head, this thing was really tall. And it just had this like a kind of like a gremlin, like goat face. It had that weird face, but it also had typical deer antlers as well. All I can tell you is that when it noticed me and we locked eyes, this thing just did this really creepy, like almost like a smile per se. When this thing smiled, it had like really sharp teeth, almost like a wolf or something. And that was when I turned around and I booked it through the woods. As I'm running and screaming on the way back to my parents, you could literally hear the sound of footsteps behind me, like this thing was catching up to me. I literally was running and screaming all the way back to our campsite, and my parents finally found me and they were trying to calm me down. Until this day, they will never believe me when I told them what it was.
Something scary happened to me, and I wasn't sure when I would be ready to tell y'all about it. I'm finally ready. I put off telling this story because it scared me so freaking much, but I'm not at home right now and it's daytime, so I'm gonna tell y'all the story. I was born, raised, and still live here in the Appalachian Mountains, and I recently moved back home to my family land. I moved out of a really haunted house back home onto haunted land. I knew that the land is haunted. It's been haunted. Everybody that lives in my little holler area, all my family members, we have all experienced weird things. It's been crazy since I moved back home. All kinds of stuff has been going on. So I woke up in the middle of the night. I wasn't sure what time it was because it was really dark outside. That's all I knew, was that it was still nighttime. So I got up and I walked down the hallway to my bathroom, and I wasn't using a flashlight, and I didn't turn any of the overhead lights on or anything. I was just using the dim light on my phone screen, and it was even black because I had it on sleep mode. So if you know what I'm talking about on an iPhone, it's like a black screen. So I was dimly lit the hallway to light my way to the bathroom so I could go use the bathroom and go back to bed without losing any sleep, because if you know what I'm talking about, I just didn't want to lose any of my sleepy. The bathroom, and most of my kids were home and they were both in bed still asleep. As I came out of the bathroom, I could have swore I heard my son crying my name. It sounded like he was saying, "Mommy," like something was, upsetting him. Something was wrong. And so I thought I seen him standing there in his doorway. Like I said, I shined my phone light, but it was barely lit up. And I just looked back down at my phone and I noticed that it was 5:30 a.m. And I was like, okay, that's early enough to get up, whatever. So I said, "What's wrong, baby? What's wrong?" And he didn't say anything back. And so I kept saying it. I said his name, sorry. And I kept saying it. I was like, "What's wrong, sweetie? What's wrong? Are you okay? What's wrong?" Finally, I turned on my flashlight because it was dark, and I just wanted to see if he was okay. And there he laid in his bed, still sound asleep. So he was not standing in his doorway, and he was not saying "Mommy." I was hearing things. And if you know anything about Appalachia, the rules are if you hear something, no, you didn't. Yes, that applies inside as well as it does outside. And I, unfortunately, responded to this thing numerous times. I kept saying, "What is it? What is it? What is it? What's wrong?" And as I realized that he was still laying there in bed, it just suddenly just hit me. And I was like, oh my God, what have I done? And what do you do after that? I don't know. So I was scared. I didn't want to wake my kids up, and I just went and laid back down. And I laid there so scared for a long time until I eventually, I guess, fell back asleep, because I woke back up and the sun was up and my kids were still asleep. And that's actually like the last scary thing that has happened to me, so hopefully nothing else happens, but if it does, I will keep y'all updated.
I travelled 4,000 miles from the UK to stay in the Appalachian Mountains. I started my journey from Tennessee and then drove up to a remote part of Kentucky. We were staying for 2 nights, so first we grabbed some groceries and some well-needed supplies. We then drove deep into a gorge that was surrounded by cliffs and caves, but our car was getting stuck up the gravel path, so we abandoned the car and went on by foot. To get to the place we're staying, we had to take a floating staircase with 177 steps. But this was where we messed up, because by the time we got to the top of where we were staying, it was pitch black. I'm shaking. We had to stop filming there for a second because the car was not getting up the gravel path, and then we couldn't find the place that we're staying at, which is crazy. This is where we're staying. I have so much adrenaline right now because we are in the middle of the Appalachian Mountains and I am terrified of heights. If we got here any later, Amy would have been in trouble because it's about to be pitch black. It's a nice cave. That's not creepy. This is crazy. We have another cave. Wonderful. It's very aesthetic. And this is meant to be where me and Chase are staying. I am shaking so bad. This one doesn't. Oh, it has a code. Oh, it's open. That's promising. I mean, pretty view. You're telling me there's no curtains? So the creeps can see in. Oh, this is so creepy. This is so creepy. What have I done? About. I want to get Chase's reaction when he sees this. I'm going to shut it and get his reaction.
What?
I heard a noise.
Oh wow, this is tiny.
Put it under a rock. Open it up. It wasn't locked, by the way. What do you think?
Why didn't you turn the lights on?
I don't know. Did you notice how there's no curtains? Just a bit of context for what you're about to see. We are staying in cliff houses and we've rented out 2 different properties and each property has 2 rooms. So I'm showing you the cliff house that we haven't explored yet. This here, yeah, that's one room. See that up there? Yeah. That is another room. I don't think I can climb up there. Oh, this is scary. Is it open?
One bed.
Oh yeah, so there's a bed up there.
It's just like the other ones at the kitchen.
That is scary. We need the torch. You can't see on camera. Oh, I just run into a cobweb. If you're scared of heights, that's crazy.
Well, we're going to go up. You're going to go behind me and just look.
Okay. We're this way.
At one of these
Yeah, look
rocks,
at the moon.
I took a picture. Cross the bridge. Act like you're passing yours and keep going.
Yeah.
There's stairs you can go down and go underneath.
Yeah, I noticed
and
that.
There's stairs, and it's got like a. I wouldn't want to go down there.
And that storm's moving in tonight.
Yeah, but we ain't gonna. Well, y'all feel it more than I will up here.
Want to see something cool?
What?
Yeah.
Chase, I said they worked.
No, I'm not holding down that button.
Well, how'd you fix it?
I put a piece of gum wrap.
Well, there you go. You had to fix it.
Oh, I told you to wait on me. You went up there without me?
No, we didn't go up.
Did you go up there without me?
No, we did not.
I was about to turn around and leave you guys.
It's the lockbox. You
Yeah, that's a
open it and you
lockbox.
push this. They're supposed
Moment,
to.
no.
I've
Because
got this
that's
horrible feeling that it's at the bottom of the stairs.
that's the.
I'm gonna sneeze. Whatever you do, nobody whistle. Chase.
You are not even hitting the right numbers.
1960.
An 8, Mom.
Okay, wait,
I just
clear.
watched you at
You
8.
got-
Can you hold the flashlight, please, over here, somebody? I said, what was it called? Am I tripping? Well, I'm not on the phone.
It's what?
Half burner.
A cough?
See, it's like, just keep going, following me. A lot easier than that floating one.
This is really crazy.
You alright?
Yeah. I think if it was light out, I'd be more scared, but I can't really see much.
Yeah. It's better than that other one. Oh, it's open.
It's open.
Alright, well.
It's awful.
I'll stay that way. Oh, this is nice.
But no blinds again.
Hey, look. You can go up there.
Yeah, that's a balcony on the top.
Yeah.
Oh,
Let's
wow.
see. Ask if it's okay once I give you the code to mine. I'm sure people did drop this stuff.
Or drop to your death.
This ain't nothing compared to that floating one.
Oh, I don't like that gap.
Ugh.
Oh, I don't like that gap
Goodness.
at all. I feel like this one is more ideal to sleep in for tonight.
Hey, if we can get in it, I'll just stay here.
I got the code.
What is it?
What is it? Hello?
I'm not yelling out loud.
Hello?
Hold on, baby. I'm having fun up here.
You're having fun? Hurry up.
I'm alright. Why are you rushing me out?
Because we want to get in.
This is so cool.
I'm coming up. You're making us come back up. The death trap. Ooh, I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like that. I'm coming. Just keep going.
We got 10,000 steps in the way.
I think we've done more than that. Oh my gosh.
Wait till you see this.
Really?
Be careful going beside her, Mom. It is steep. But well worth it. More than worth it. We should have brought the whole cooler of beer. Only problem is coming down drunk.
Wow. This is fun.
But you want to have your hand.
This is fun. Oh.
One step at a time.
Give her a hand.
I'll come back up here and take pictures.
I'm surprised we have cell phone service.
Little cricket baby.
Jimmy.
Jiminy Cricket. I said don't do it in the Appalachian Mountains.
I see something walking.
No, you don't. What do you see walking?
At least 10 foot.
This is scary to get back down. We are in a cliff.
Drop your phone.
I'm not going to drop my phone.
Alright, let's go get the
It's a little bright, honey.
I
This
know.
is neat. I like that's
Who's going first down the shuttle?
Go slow. Yeah, turn around.
Trace, I know how to
Ease
climb
down,
these. This
feel your
mom.
foot.
We keep hearing creepy noises. Chase keeps saying the W word.
Oh, we have. You want a flashlight? Oh, he's got one.
You coming down? Hello?
I'm enjoying this.
Yeah, well, we need the code. You're withholding it.
I'm surprised we have cell phone service.
Mm-hmm.
Touch.
We are in a cliff.
Oh.
Now we're going back across the bridge to grab our stuff because we stayed in the other one instead.
Yeah.
I hope they're really cool.
Well, they don't have a book tomorrow.
We're moving house. This is the craziest I've ever done. I've got to say. Oh, this is nuts. Can you hear the crickets? I think that hearing crickets is a good sign. And then, oh no. Shut the up. Mm-mm.
What?
I heard a noise. Stop it, I heard a noise. You're in trouble. What was that? What was that? What was that?
What?
I heard a whistle.
What was that other song? It had the whistle in it?
You're stressing me out.
What was that song? Oh, Jealous Guy. Wet the lips here.
You're in so much shit.
Why you laugh? Oh no, we're locked out.
It's a what?
A Wendigo collar.
Really?
Yeah, I got it on Amazon.
Oh, it's
Oh.
good. Yay.
Here we go.
He's choosing Texas, I can tell.
Pressure.
I
Oh.
love pressure.
Oh.
Babe, you need a shower for yourself.
I want to get it on camera.
We're gonna get soaked if you don't
Oh,
hurry.
they turned the...
Babe, it's moving in.
Oh my gosh.
What are you doing? Hey,
I'm being attacked by a
it's a
moth.
moth.
You go first. Oh, I'm about to get soaked.
I told you, hurry up. Get the rain. We're lucky.
I want you to be mine again, Larry.
We're about to have front row seats.
Should we go upstairs and watch the storm?
We can, more.
Okay. We're in the Appalachian Mountains. As I'm sure you saw all of the craziness that unfolded when we got here. This is like a cave. We're currently in the middle of a really bad storm. The thunder right now. This is gonna, but I'm gonna take you upstairs to the balcony. It's just me. Yeah, it was me. So as you can see, we're in a cave. If you've ever watched the scary movie called The Descent, that's what it's reminding me of.
Ooh.
We're under like this big rock. Here we go, it's starting.
No, don't do it the
Oh, okay.
flash.
Turn the flash off. Oh.
Dog's moving in.
It looks like there's someone down there. Oh. What's the code? I need to go down here to pee. So here I go in a thunderstorm. Oh, I hate that gap. I hate that gap. Oh, I forgot what he said the code was. 1937. I'm gonna find out. Oh wow, it's got right here.
This whole thing shakes when you walk down on that deck.
Oh, does it? Are you okay with the thunder?
Oh yeah, I'm fine. It's not. I don't mind that. I just don't. As long as we're under a tornado.
I'm gonna go scare her. So it's thunderstorming. Thunder's kind of calmed down. But she had to go. I can't really see, but she had to go to the bathroom. And it's kind of a walk, as you can see. It's a journey, so we're gonna go spook her. Yeah, looks like we're sleeping with our clothes on tonight.
We're going to bed now. The door is locked. word for tonight.
Wendigo.
Do I want to go down those stairs?
Okay.
I didn't see that before. No, Chase. Oh no.
Let's go down there, babe.
No.
Get you back to the cemetery. Oh, it's starting to rain hard.
Let's go. You go first. Because if the rat runs and charges
How
it.
dark it is? Like, watch this. What would you do if there was a figure right there? Watch. Alright, third time's a charm. Wendigo.
So I don't tell this story, and I have never spoken about this story publicly. I think only 5 people who weren't there that day know this story. You're probably going to think that I'm crazy, but I'm going to tell you anyway. And this will probably be the only time that I speak about this, okay? So when I was around 15, 16 years old, we moved into a house in a really, really bad area. Gang violence, bad area. When we moved into the house, we hadn't been there very long when we were downstairs and we were messing with the wall. I don't remember what we were doing. I think we were trying to track down like one of the electrical cords or something. And I reach into the top of the door frame and pull out a small box. And I still remember what it looks like. It was a box that was hard plastic and it was red on the bottom and the top of the box was clear. And it had those 2 snaps that you just kind of like snap together. You know what I mean? Well, inside the box were teeth. Human teeth. It was about 4 of them. My mother and the rest of my family was witness to this. I also have an ex who is on this app who follows me. He was witness to this. This house always had a very creepy feeling, especially upstairs. Upstairs, there were only 2 bedrooms. There was nothing else. It was just, you would go up the stairs. There was a bedroom to the right that had like a step that you had to step down into. And that's also where the attic entrance was, which was my room, of course. And then you could go straight, and that was my mother's bedroom. And at this point, we lived with my aunt and her kids. So not long after the teeth situation happens, they're in the attic. And this was like a very old family home. It had been in the same family for years. And they run up on an original Ouija board. The first year that it was ever released, it was the original Ouija board. They wanted to play with the Ouija board. I didn't really want to play with Ouija board. I'm very spiritual. I don't mess with Ouija boards. So there was a night where I was asleep in my mom's room. So if you walked up the stairs, you would walk straight, and that's my mom's room. But you could see the doorway of my room from my mom's room because it was literally right beside each other, right? My ex was downstairs taking a shower. Not much was going on, and I was like, I'm gonna lay down and take a nap because my head hurt. There was a whole bunch of people downstairs. I mean, probably at least 6, 7 people, not including my ex. So I could hear them downstairs. They were talking. They were shooting. They had their little conversation going. And I hear someone walk into the room. But at this point, I'm laid back with like the pillow over my face. And I say my ex's name, and I'm like, hey, what are you doing? He doesn't respond. So I'm like, okay, well, he's probably got his headphones in because he used to walk around all the time with headphones in. Don't think anything of it. And then I go into this state of sleep where it's like you're kind of asleep, but you can hear everything that's still going on around you. So again, I hear like a cracking. Kind of sounds like the floor cracking. And at this point, I feel somebody. You know what I mean? Like I feel somebody is close to me, as if someone were like in my face. So at this point, I'm laying on my side. When I open my eyes, there is a hand that's like this close to my face. And it was not a human hand. There's a movie on Netflix, used to be on Netflix, and the cover photo looked just like this hand. It was about a witch, and it's a picture. The hand is just like very long and spindly and black. I may try to find a picture of it, but I really don't want to go down that rabbit hole exactly because I feel like that would just send me into flashbacks. And this is the only thing that's ever happened to me that genuinely scared me. So again, at this point, I'm like half asleep. So I open my eyes and there's a hand there, and I'm like, and by the time I like close my eyes and open my eyes back, the hand is gone. So it looked like someone had been like hunkered down beside the bed and was like reaching up towards me, and like the hand was at my face. It was scary as hell. In my mind, I was like, okay, I was half asleep. I opened my eyes. I'm tripping, right? I'm going crazy. So then I'm like, and I decided I'm going to lay back down and go to sleep. Again, you can see my doorway from my mother's bed, and my door was open. My ex still downstairs. Everybody else still downstairs. I can still hear him talking, everything. I'm laying there, and again, I hear cracking, but it sounds like somebody had stepped on the step in my room to come up into the hallway. I'm laying in the bed, and I just happened to kind of sit up when I heard that. And about the time that I hear that, I see a hand reach out of my doorway and grab the door frame of my room. Like it was coming out in the hallway. This is literally kind of like what it looked like, but more spindly and less flesh. And if you're wondering, I literally had to Google demon hand to find that. As soon as I see this hand, I jump out of my mother's bed, and the stairs were a straight shot from her bed. Like it was probably 5 feet from her doorway. You're going down the steps. It was a weird house. I'm out of the bed, and I jump down the steps. I miss all 18 steps. I hit the landing at the bottom, jump down the other 5 steps, and then I jump over the back of the couch, and I'm sitting on the couch just rocking back and forth. My mom immediately is like, what did you see? And I couldn't even talk. All they knew to do was call my grandma, because my grandma was experienced with these type of things. So they called my grandma. My grandma brings a Bible. My grandma was immediately like really creeped. I got a really, really bad feeling. Everyone else also went upstairs that night, got a really, really bad feeling. Later that night, I did go back upstairs, and I slept in my mom's room because my ex was with me, so I felt a little bit more comfortable. But we were laying there talking, and maybe like 2-3 hours after this happens, we have the light on in my room, so like it's not black or anything. You could still see in my room. I wasn't as creeped out. We're laying there, and a baseball out of nowhere like flies through, like out of the hallway storage closet into that room. And at that point, we were both like, no. So we go downstairs, and we slept downstairs for like a full week. After that experience, I was never comfortable in that house again. We did not stay there very long. There had been a fire previously in that house, but that's really all I know about it. And after we moved out, my aunt still continued to live there. Well, she goes home one night, and suddenly it had not been raining. Nothing really went on weather-wise. Her breaker box in her house was filled with water. She left that night. She came and stayed at my mom's house because my mom had recently just moved out and got a house. And she stayed with us for a couple of weeks before she moved in with my grandpa. She never moved back into that house. I don't know if it was just something in that house, or if it was the land, or if it was just the area we were in, or what it was. But whatever it was, it scared me to death, and it is still to this day the only experience I've had that genuinely scared me from like a spiritual standpoint.
My first time in Blue Ridge Mountain and in North Carolina mountains, all that area over there, okay, was a terrible experience. I accidentally ended up over there. It was not my plan to go through the mountain, because where I originally went to, I didn't have to go through the mountain to get there, but I had to go through the mountain to get out somehow wherever the GPS took me. When I tell you, I thought my soul was about to leave my body. When I looked over and seen them drops, and it looked like pure just darkness down there. And they don't put railings on all the sides of the mountains like that. They don't, because it says it gives a false sense of safety. Like, I actually need that false sense of safety. The mountains ain't nothing to play with. Not in that time of night. For the first time, I really thought the hills had eyes, and I was gonna see something I didn't want to see and make the wrong turn, if you know what I mean. Like, I was not feeling the mountains. Don't get me wrong, it's beautiful in the daytime, so peaceful, so serene. But at that time, I really just wanted to get the hell out of there. And you can't, it's not no like, let me just drive through this mountain real quick. No, like, it's gonna be a minute, and you got to go all the way through it, and you got to be paying attention, and you got to, like, ride them curves. Because they was really about to ride my ass. I didn't know what was going on, baby. Like, I was like, oh my God. And then you don't really have good phone service up there. So it's like, you know, if something happened, you can't call nobody. Somebody got to find you. If they can find you, if you don't went over the cliff. You know what I mean?
I got another Appalachia story for you. West Virginia. And this one sounds like a horror movie. The story that this woman tells makes you seriously question whether you would ever want to work a night shift again. So this woman works in a medical billing office in West Virginia. This is an old repurposed clinic from the 60s. Brick building right on the edge of a small town and a wooden ridge, basically growing up against the back of. So she's outside at around 3 a.m. on her smoke break, and she is sitting on this really low stone wall. So this wall she's sitting on is between the parking lot and the tree line, and she's just sitting there scrolling away on her phone, trying to stay awake as one does at 3 o'clock in the morning on that shift. So she's sitting there for about 3 minutes, and then she gets that prickling feeling up on the back of her neck. You know, the one where you just know something is watching you. So instinctively, she looks up and she sees there is a man standing along the wood line up against the edge of the property, about 20 feet away from her. Courtney says he is hunched over in this really wrong posture. She said his torso was twisted in a way, or like an angle that had to be painful. And what he was wearing, he was wearing this long, dirty trench coat that went down to about his shin. He had on blue surgical gloves and a faded medical mask, and it was covering everything below his eyes. And his eyes wide open, but sunken in. His eyes almost sunk into these dark hollows, yet they beamed in her direction, just staring at her. So Courtney is super nervous, obviously, and she's trying to keep it together and keep it nonchalant. So she's going back down with her eyes, looking down at her phone, kind of trying to play it off, but her hand is shaking. So for a little while, every now and then, she just like glances up and then looks back down, and she sees that he is not moving at all. Like, he is in that same weird posture and just staring at her. So Courtney hears a coal truck in the distance, like down in the valley, and it kind of snaps her out of her, back and forth, up and down looking, just for a second. And then she kind of looks in the direction of the coal truck, looks back down at her phone, and in that amount of time, like 3 seconds, she looks up and oh my freaking gosh, she sees him. He is now sitting directly next to her, like an inch away from her freaking body. Seconds ago, he was 20 feet away, not moving. And now, right next to her. Like humanly impossible. She said he was sitting so close to her, she could hear his breathing. She said it sounded wet and rhythmic. She described it as, oh my gosh, somebody blowing bubbles through a straw. So everything inside of her is just screaming. Alarm bells are going off. But she grew up in Appalachia, so she is trying to think of the best course of action. She goes with try to be polite and gives him this very weak, forced smile. Now, I thought we don't acknowledge things in the Appalachia, but maybe I'm not up to par on the rule book. Okay, so she is terrified. She is smiling awkwardly. And then he reaches his gloved hand out towards her and he just says, cigarette? So she fumbles with her pack of cigarettes and shakingly takes one out and hands it to him. He takes it and he's just holding it. He's just zoning out, holding the cigarette in his hand. He doesn't put it up to his lips or, mask. And he is just staring across the lot, just blank. So she says, do you need a light? And he slowly turns and looks at her again. And with a stiffness, raises both thumbs up at her and just holds both thumbs like giving her the thumbs up for 10 of the longest seconds straight of her life. And he's just staring at her with the thumbs up. So then she kind of gestures with the lighter and asks again. And he says, yes, I need one. And so she kind of hands it towards him. And with his gloved hand, he reaches to take the lighter from her. And his fingers graze her hand. And she said it was freezing to the touch, like completely way too cold for the temperature outside. So guys, he puts the cigarette in his mouth through the mask and he lights it through the mask. And then he hands her the lighter back. So she crushes her cigarette out and she kind of jumps up and she's doing everything in her power to be as nonchalant as possible, but getting the F out of there. And she's like, have a good night. And she turns and walks away to the safety of the building. And guys, Courtney gets almost to the door when all of a sudden she hears a menacing laughing. She says it was deep and wet and it sounded multiplied, as though there were multiple of whatever the heck that was, laughing, all in different tones. So she doesn't even look back. She just gets inside, closes the door and locks it behind her and just stands there, trying to catch her breath and to kind of relax now that she seems to be safe. And then she finally brings herself to look out the security window. And there is nobody there. The wall that they were just sitting on, totally empty. And she's looking around and there is nobody anywhere in the whole area. And she said all that she saw lying there in the gravel right where he was a single cigarette snapped perfectly in half, not lit. She said she has never found out who or what the heck that thing was. Nobody else had reported anything similar, and she still does work on that night shift. I think it would be time to find a new job.
So Rachel says that her boyfriend has been acting terrified of her ever since they got back from the Appalachian Trail. The only reason why she's writing this story is because she feels like she needs to put it down somewhere, because she feels like she's losing her mind. Dane and her are the kind of couple that finish each other's sentences, they have all these inside jokes, they have almost like their own language. That's how close they are. She knows him better than anyone, and that's how she knows that she's not being paranoid about what's going on here. So they had gotten back from the Appalachian Trail about 11 days ago. They hiked over 200 miles starting in Virginia, and this was actually Dane's idea because he had never done anything longer than just like a weekend trip. Rachel was nervous, but Dane was so excited, like he could barely sleep the night before they left. The first 2 weeks of the hike were incredible. They got along so well, they kind of just fell into a rhythm of being without their phones and being just the two of them out in nature. But the third week is when things started to feel off. She doesn't really know how to explain it, but the woods just felt off. Everything looked the same, but somehow the air felt thicker. Rachel said she could feel it like in her chest, like everything had shifted just a degree. And Dane could feel it too, because she noticed that he had started getting quieter. He was the kind of person that would always point things out, like if he saw a cool tree or a bird or an animal, but now he just hiked. And on the fourth night of that week, she woke up in the middle of the night, and he wasn't in the tent. She found him about 20 feet away, just staring off into the tree line. When she called out his name, he turned around so fast that it startled her. He looked like, not exactly scared, but he looked like he was almost like caught doing something. He said he just needed to use the bathroom, and then he came back in the tent and laid down. But she could feel him like lying awake all night. So they finished the hike about 2 days later, and they drove home. She was hoping that things would get better once they got back to their apartment, but they didn't. He flinches when she touches him. Not every time, but she started hesitating now when she reaches for him. Last week, she came up behind him while he was doing the dishes, and she put her hand on his shoulder. And he made a really weird noise. She said it wasn't a word, it was just a noise. And then he apologized for being all jumpy. He said that he's just been getting really bad sleep lately. She says that she gets up in the middle of the night and she'll find that he's not in the bed. So she'll go and she'll find him and tell him what are you doing? What's up? And he just sort of comes back to bed, lays down and acts like nothing happened. He's even started locking the bedroom door at night. They share a bedroom and they share a bed, but for the last 6 days, Rachel has been waking up in the middle of the night on the couch, and her bedroom door is locked with Dane inside. But she has no memory of getting there. Dane says that she must be sleepwalking, but he says it in a very calm tone, almost like he's saying it to someone that he's frightened of. Rachel asked him last night just to tell her what is wrong, because she's sure that she must have done something. So they sat at the kitchen table. She sat directly across from him and was like, you need to tell me right now what is going on. And he basically sits there, stares at her, and it feels like in his head like he's deciding something. Then he just says, you haven't done anything. I've just been in my head ever since the trail. I'm sorry. He then reached across the table and grabbed her hand, and only held it for about a second, so she knew something was wrong. So she went to the bathroom after dinner, and she stood there for a long time, just staring at herself in the mirror. She was thinner than before the hike, and she was a little bit pale, but she looked normal, so she decided to splash some cold water on her face. When she looked back toward the mirror, she was smiling. She hadn't been smiling, and she wasn't smiling. But in her reflection, for just a split second, when she looked up, it was smiling. It was like wide and still. But a split second later, it was her face again. So she told herself it was the lighting or water in her eyes or something other than weirdness like that. But she's been thinking about that third week on the trail, how the air had shifted, how suddenly she feels like she couldn't remember the last 2 days of hiking. She only remembers flashes, a strange taste in her mouth, something moving behind the trees parallel to the trail, and waking up outside of the tent with dirt under her fingernails, with no explanation. She's been thinking about how Dane stood in the tree line that night, about the noise that he made when she touched his shoulder, and about how she looked in the mirror. She's been telling herself to ask him what he saw on the trail, and what he's been seeing since they got back. But she's hesitant, because she almost doesn't want to know the answer. Rachel doesn't know what any of this means. She doesn't know if she should be scared of Dane or scared of something else entirely. But last night, she had a dream about the woods, the smell of them, the dark, how she's hungry in a way that she's never been before. She doesn't have words, and she doesn't know how to end this post. I guess she just needs somebody else to know. And she leaves the story off with, I'll update when I can. But there's no update.
A lot of people wonder why they say in the Appalachians not to go into the woods at night, not to whistle, not to sing, and always make sure you close your windows and you lock your doors, and absolutely never respond to anything that calls your name. So this goes back to an old Native American belief in the area that these mountains were home to spirits and that they would come out and wander during the night. And I've heard two stories that will give you an idea as to why you should not do these things at night. So there was a man named Jeff. He lived outside of Knoxville, Tennessee. And he was told about this spot up in the mountains where there was some good mushrooms. But no one would go to this area because they were very superstitious. So Jeff thinks, I'm going to go to this area and get a good haul. And, what do I care? There's no such thing as ghost. So he goes out, he parks his car, he goes into the woods, and he's hunting for several hours. Starts to notice the sun is going down, it's getting dark, it's time to head back to his vehicle. Now, as he's walking through the woods, he all of a sudden hears, Jeff, come here. Come, Jeff. And he hears his name being called. So Jeff knows from legend that if you hear something calling your name, you do not respond. So he just keeps on walking, and all of a sudden he hears this louder and louder, his name being called. And then he starts hearing screaming coming from deep in the woods. And he hears laughter, and he hears what sounds like people just talking all around him. So he starts walking faster and faster, and he knows the way he came in, but for some reason it feels like the trees are almost moving, and he is going in the wrong direction now. And finally he comes out sort of to this open area, and he sees a man standing out in this field, but he's turned around looking in the opposite direction. So Jeff goes up and approaches this guy and says, "Excuse me, sir, do you know the route back to the highway?" And when this man turns around, Jeff realizes that it's himself, and he's all bloody and bruised, and he's just staring back at him. So Jeff runs as fast as he can for several miles, gets in his car, and drives back home. Later that night, he's awoken to hearing voices inside his room calling out to him, Jeff, come back, come. And so Jeff never went back into the woods again, mushroom hunting. And the second story I've heard is there was a couple who decided they were going to live in the Appalachian Mountains for a summer. They find this cabin for rent, and they're surprised at how cheap the price is for 6 months. So they rent this cabin, and they go out there, and they bring all their stuff to move in. And this guy in a truck, he meets them out there, and he's very nervous. And he tells them, hey, at night, you're going to want to lock your doors and close the blinds. And then he gets in his truck, and he leaves as fast as he can. So this couple is just in awe of how nice this log cabin is and the fact that they got it for almost, this huge steal. So that night, they go into their cabin, they make themselves comfortable. It gets dark. And all of a sudden, they hear a thump, thump, thump up on the roof. And it sounds like something or someone is walking across the roof. And then they hear banging on the side of the house, and they hear these large booms and creaks and sounds coming all around them from outside. It sounds almost like their house is being invaded. Eventually, the sound dies down and daylight comes. The next day, same thing happens. And for several weeks, this goes on. So finally, the husband is fed up, and he says, you know what, I'm done. We're taking our home back. We're tired of being harassed. So in the middle of the night, when this sounds start happening again, he goes to the window, he opens the curtains, and then he looks out the window, and standing out behind the window is a woman, and she has this pale, long face and white, gray hair going over her shoulders. And he notices she has solid white eyes, and she's just staring at him. And then she points directly at him, and that's when all breaks loose. He starts hearing banging on the roof, banging on the sides of the house. The house feels like almost like an earthquake is happening. And then he shuts the blinds. They run into the bathroom, and they hide for the rest of the night. The next day, they decide, we're through with this, and they leave, never to return again.
Warning, if you feel like you're being watched by the trees here in Woodlands National Park, you are. There are dangerous creatures here in these woods that look exactly like trees, but they are very dangerous and they are out to get you. If you hear loud rustling in the woods or see a tree that's suspiciously out of place, report it to a park ranger immediately. We are currently conducting an investigation.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoy this content, make sure to subscribe and share your own stories in the comments below. Until next time, stay safe, stay aware, and question everything.